The following program was paid for by Southern Kentucky Financial Services.
Coming up today on the Southern Kentucky Retirement Show, maybe one of the biggest but least understood risks to your retirement that comes from policymakers in Washington and Frankfort. Today we'll identify some of these legislative risks and strategies you can use right now to help preserve your savings. And you'll walk away from the show today with some actionable steps you can do right now to start making a difference for your financial future. The Southern Kentucky Retirement Show starts right now.
Retirement is more than a destination. It's a journey that starts with a dream, a vision for the way you want to live, recharge, and give back. To get there, you need a plan to reach your retirement goals. Alan Costello of Southern Kentucky Financial Services has the strategies you need to plan for income, taxes, health care, and more. For years, Alan has been helping families in Southern Kentucky plan for a successful retirement. Welcome to the Southern Kentucky Retirement Show with Alan Costello.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Ralph Hipp here with Alan Costello of Southern Kentucky Financial on the Southern Kentucky Retirement Show. Legislative risks are one of our biggest but least understood risks to your retirement, and after the show today, you'll have a better handle on what this risk means to your retirement and what you can do about it. So let's get started by bringing on Alan. So Alan, let's get right to it and start with our main topic, and the big idea is ways you can help prevent legislative risk from totally undermining your retirement. Alan, legislative risk, what are some of the major points of this? Can you spell it out for us?
Yeah, Ralph, legislative risk is the risk that we as retirees or investors face when governments make big decisions. Sometimes they make some smaller things that affect specific industries. Sometimes they make things that affect the entire economy. There's things like, for example, the Secure Act. I think we'll talk about that a little later, but that had a tremendous impact on everyone who's facing retirement. The broader impact can be long-term trends in the economy as well.
Alan, we've seen all this before. Congress or the Internal Revenue Service will make a change in the tax code. Might see some more changes in about a year or so. And it leaves all of us as regular taxpayers scrambling to react. What's your reaction to that?
Well, we mentioned Secure Act a minute ago, and those are recent examples of massive changes that impacted retirees in particular. How long you could take to liquidate an inherited account, for example, is completely changed. It used to be you could leave your IRA to your granddaughter if you chose to, and then she could extend that over her entire lifetime. Today, whoever you leave it to, outside of a few exceptions, has got to take that money out and spend it within 10 years, which means that you may be leaving it to someone at a time when it's their greatest impact on them for taxes. So changes to government programs also affect things like Social Security and Medicare.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, we had a new, it's not a tax, but what's called the IRMA penalty, which can also impact not only your Social Security, but your Medicare.
So you mentioned IRMA, and we spell that IRMAA?
Correct.
So you can spell that out for us when we meet with you in one of the possible options. What are some of the macro legislative risks that are out there, Alan, that have an even broader impact on us?
Well, legislation involving regulation can have an impact on the markets and the state of the entire economy.
Sure.
Government spending, high government debt can lead to concerns about tax revenue needed to cover those liabilities. And in our situation today, our government debt is the highest it's ever been. In fact, it's the highest any country's seen in the history of the world, Ralph. So it's pretty significant.
You mentioned the Secure Act, and we have the first Secure Act, and now we have the 2.0, which is supposed to be better. But generally, the intention of the Secure Act was for the government to encourage us to create these retirement accounts and be putting money into those and saving for retirement. They want us to do that.
Yeah, they want us to do that. And, the Secure Act is all about setting every community up, Ralph. But at the same time, governments need revenue. And part of the impact of the Secure Act was really more about revenue. A lot of people got caught up in the idea that, I don't have to take my required minimum distributions till a later time. But that means that your IRA or your 401 continues to grow, which means when you do take it out, you'll likely pay more in taxes.
That was their other intention.
Yes, that was the other intention.
We would like to tap into some of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Alan, we have the administration changes coming in Washington in January, and the legislative session for the state of Kentucky. Do you watch the federal or do you watch the state legislature one more than the other, or you watch both equally in terms of how it affects us in Kentucky financially?
Well, Ralph, I think without question, the federal government has the greatest impact on most of us. Kentucky, like any state, they have to raise revenue as well. But for most of the people we're working with, they're drawing Social Security. They're covered by Medicare. So these legislative things that occur at the federal level can have a tremendous impact on retirees.
And I've been terming it the year of the window. We have the Trump inauguration in January 20th of 2025. The proposed changes, it was supposed to sunset the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, January 1 of 2026. We had that year, and we said there is a window of opportunity. Do you have any suggestions on what we should be thinking about in this year of the window before 2026 gets here?
Well, I think the key is to take some action. We don't know if the Tax Cut and Job Acts will be extended or not. There's a lot of talk that it probably or possibly will, but of course we've got to get that through both houses of Congress, and we're not there yet. So this is coming up year 2025 is really important that we take advantage of the TCJA as it's currently written, which allows us to possibly reduce our lifetime taxes by taking advantage of things like Roth conversions and some of the other provisions of that tax code. It's important for most people to understand that it's not just about reducing your taxes this year, but it's about reducing the lifetime expense of taxation.
So it's important to think beyond this very critical year that's coming up.
Absolutely, Ralph. It's very important too.
Especially with retirement probably lasting 20 to 30 years if you're healthy enough for it. So Alan, thanks. We have a lot more of our show to go, and glad you're with us. Up next on the Southern Kentucky Retirement Show, strategies to help you reduce that impact of legislative changes on your retirement. Later on, Alan will be in the hot seat for what we call Retirement IQ. I'm Ralph Hipp along with Alan Costello. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom. It's just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
And I'm here with Alan Costello, the founder of Southern Kentucky Financial Services. Alan, on the show, we're helping our friends and our viewers understand the possible impact of changes in legislation coming up in 2025, public policy, which really does deal with our retirements. And getting back to our main topic here, what are some of the ways we can take back a little more control? Can we push back on what the government is doing to us or for us?
Well, I think that the country is trying to push back, Ralph. It seems that's what happened here in the last election. But, having a plan is important. The thing is, having a plan doesn't prevent things from happening. In our meetings, we talk a lot about going up the mountain, which is preparing for retirement, and then coming down the mountain, which is living through retirement. And even with the best laid plans, there are times whenever things come out of the blue that we don't expect. And these are things like legislative risk. And that's why it's not just important to initially have a plan. A lot of people think, oh, I've got my written plan, I'm good to go. Well, yeah, you do, but that forecast is based upon things that happen that are in place at the time you did it. It's really important that you continue to update that year after year after year, because times are always changing. Every time we turn around, there's new legislative risk, there's market things to think about. So it's really important that you don't just think you can do a plan one time and you're done. This is not a one and done thing.
How often would you reset with someone who comes to see you at Southern Kentucky Financial? Every 6 months, every year at least?
Well, it kind of depends on the individual, but we have a requirement at my firm. I tell everybody this, that I only have one rule. You have to meet with me at least once a year.
At least
once a year. For most of our clients, they're going to see us at least twice. They're generally going to see us in the spring, where we're going to look at the past year, our performance, how we've done. And then for most of our clients, we're going to do another session in the end of the year, where we're going to talk about taxes in particular. This is where the idea of legislative risk comes in, because taxes are such an important part of what we do. But if you wait till the end of the year to make those changes, you've waited too long.
Yeah. A lot of those changes we're talking about with Alan today do involve government spending and the taxation of you. So do we really have any control of the taxes that we owe in retirement? Is there anything we can do to be in charge of that, Alan?
Well, actually, there's a lot more you can do in retirement, Ralph, than there is when you're working. You know, most of us, when we're working, we have a paycheck, and there's certain taxes that come out, and we really don't have a lot of control over it. But when we retire, that changes. Now, all of a sudden, we may have 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 different streams of income. And one of the most important things I've learned over the years, Ralph, is, you've heard me say this on the radio, is not all money is taxed the same.
Right.
And that is so important when we get to retirement, because not all money is taxed the same. Social Security is taxed one way. It may or may not impact your other income. The money you pull from your required minimum distributions, or like in your IRA, 401k plans, that has a different impact. The money that you pull out of life insurance or a Roth IRA can maybe come out tax-free. Then there's the money that you have like in investments, where you have capital gains and dividends. All of those have impacts on your taxes in retirement, Ralph.
So talk to us more about the strategy helping us possibly reduce our income tax burden in retirement, Alan.
Well, I think the first thing to do, Ralph, is to have a system in place to where that you are considering where you're going to pull the money from. You know, unlike when you're working, where that your check simply comes from your employer every 2 weeks or whatever, in retirement, you need to lay out a plan of where you're going to pull that money from. You know, we do a lot of workshops, and one of the things I always show people is two couples, couple A, couple B. They both pulled out the same amount of money. One of them paid 0 tax. One of them paid $6,500 in tax. Now, the question I would ask you is, which one do you want to be? And deciding which one you're going to be is going to be determined by the decisions that you make throughout the year about where you pull that money from.
Alan, talk to me a little bit about our obligation to the state of Kentucky and to the federal government to be an American citizen, to earn our money, and have income streams in retirement, which taxes will be pulled from. The obligation we owe in taxes to be an American and a Kentuckian, as opposed to some really tax-efficient strategies that can help us keep as much as we possibly can when we decide to end the paycheck there. What are your thoughts on that?
Ralph, I always refer to Judge Learned Hand. He's supposedly the most quoted judge to not sit on the Supreme Court.
Okay.
And he basically said that it's not a patriotic obligation to pay taxes that you don't owe. And I'm totally in agreement. Everybody needs to pay their fair share of taxes. Everybody needs to pay what the law requires. However, the tax code is written to get people to do things, frankly, that the government wants you to do. And retirement's one of them, because if you get to retirement and you haven't properly planned, then you fall back upon society to take care of you. So government actually works in the code to get people to do things that government wants you to do. Retirement's an example. Housing's an example. Food is an example. I mean, governments want people to raise farms and to create food for their people. So our way of looking at that is that we have an obligation to pay the taxes that we owe, but we don't have an obligation to pay taxes that the code says we don't have to pay.
So you're the man, Alan. You can help us navigate that sweet spot in the middle of, being tax efficient, but paying what we do legitimately owe. You can help us navigate that.
Certainly hope to, Ralph. Yes, sir.
All right. And get with Alan, give him a call, and he can do a summit analysis for you, as he mentioned, which we'll talk about several times on the show. Going up that mountain toward retirement, you're reaching the peak and coming back down. That downslide could be the downside of your retirement if you don't play it right and play it carefully. So, Alan, some great insights from you on that as we talk about legislative risk on the show today. Straight ahead, Alan's going to be in the hot seat for what we're calling Retirement IQ. And later on here on the Southern Kentucky Retirement Show, what are some of the simple and actionable things that you can do right now, helping improve your financial future and your situation today? Alan will have our checklist challenge, so stay with us. I'm Ralph Hipp, and we'll be back with that after this.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom. It's just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse, knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
And it's time now on our show to put our knowledge and your knowledge to the test with this week's Retirement IQ. So, Alan, you're ready for this?
I'm ready, Ralph.
All right. Of all the questions we ask, a little bit of trivia here. And we've talked a lot about legislative risk on the show today, concerns about public policy changes from Washington and Frankfurt, talking about taxes. So that's the theme of our trivia questions today. Trivia question number one, Alan, if you're all set for it.
Ready.
Okay. We have several choices for you. 9 states do not have an income tax for individuals. Can you name any one of them? One of the 9 states.
I can do a little better than one because I actually have clients who live in some of them. We have clients who live in Texas. Texas has no state income tax.
Yeah.
I live pretty close to Tennessee. We have quite a few clients in Tennessee, so I know Tennessee has no income tax. And outside of that, I know from years ago that Nevada does not have an income tax, but I think that's about as far as I can go.
About those
in
three?
Terms of guessing, yeah.
I have the answer in my hot little hands here. Alaska, Florida, and you notice a tendency here with the big tourism in the state. They don't have an income tax. Nevada, with Vegas, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Texas, Washington, and Wyoming. So those are the 9. And what can you mention about what's our situation in Kentucky? And that's a continual thing you have to look at, isn't it, Alan?
Yeah, it is. And Kentucky, a few years ago, started a process to do away with the income tax.
Yeah.
Of course, as they're doing it, they're implementing additional taxes, and they're supposedly going to go down, I think, to 4% in the next year. That is assuming that they get the revenue they expect from some of the other taxes that they've implemented.
Okay. Well, one of the biggest overhauls to our retirement system in recent years gone by was the Secure Act. And our next question, what does the Secure Act stand for, Alan?
Well, Ralph, the Secure Act stands for Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enhancement.
I thought it was just a secure word, but it's an acronym, actually stands for something, huh?
Yeah, Washington's really notorious for coming up with acronyms to explain things, yeah.
And we have a 2.0 on top of that.
We do have a
too.
2.0, and 2.0 made some really major changes, specifically as it related to inherited IRAs. I mentioned earlier that in the past you could defer taxes on an IRA for another generation, but Congress said that that's not the intent of IRAs, and therefore they want those taxes to be paid as quickly as possible after the initial person that held those IRAs are gone.
Okay. And we're testing Alan's knowledge and yours too with trivia. What's the current full retirement age, the FRA, for us in this country?
Well, the FRA for Social Security is age 67.
All right.
Now, it depends on when you were born. If you were born prior to 1960, it's 65 and so many months, depending on the month you were born in. After 1960, it's 67. And of course, if you put it off till age 70, then you increase your benefits by 8% a year.
Okay. And we have one more for you, Alan. Discuss how to determine the best time to pick Social Security. Thanks for your answer on that. Our next question, what year was the Roth IRA introduced?
Well, it was introduced in the late 1990s, I think 1997 to be exact. And most of these retirement plans, like IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. Roth actually is the name of the senator who proposed this in the first place.
From Delaware,
yeah,
I would add. Yes.
He's the one that proposed this. And if you've heard me speak in the past, you know I'm a big fan of the Roth IRA.
All right. And Roth conversions, you're big on those too.
Yes, we are.
Especially, right? Yeah. He gives you some advice on that when you call him and come to see him. So, Alan, I think you got 100% on the quiz.
Right.
But those the states with no income tax, 9 of those, and you've got at least 3 of them. Still to come on our show, we're going to learn some of the simple steps you can take right now, possibly improving your own situation. Because how useful is knowledge without action? Alan says knowledge is power. So stay tuned, and we'll talk more about that next.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wander later. Call for your free analysis today.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom. It's just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
We are delighted you're joining us today on the Southern Kentucky Retirement Show, the TV show with Alan Costello. Alan, it's been quite a bit of fun, actually, very informative today, identifying legislative risk and how it impacts our future in retirement. We've certainly learned a lot. And as that old saying goes, we had some good words of wisdom from Judge Learned Hand there, but knowledge is power, isn't it?
It is, Ralph. Absolutely. And having knowledge and not taking action is not going to do you any good. You've got to take some action with the knowledge that you get. I really think of what Dale Carnegie always said, that knowledge isn't power until it's applied. So that's what I'd like to end the show with today, is a few simple steps that you can take to start to improve your situation.
Alan, we have 3 basic steps, and the first one regards your full retirement age, doesn't it?
Yeah, Ralph. In fact, one of the first things you need to do when you're getting close to retirement is determine what your full retirement age is going to be. You can check the Social Security Administration's website, and depending on when you're going to retire, it's going to determine how much of your Social Security you're going to draw. For most people born after 1960, they're going to have to retire at age 67 or later to get their full retirement benefits. The second thing is to take an inventory of your retirement savings and determine how much of that money has not yet been taxed. For some people, that's kind of a surprise. It's kind of a shock. I'll have people bring in their statements and say, "Oh, I've got $1 million in my 401k," and I'll ask sometimes, "Well, how much of it is yours?" And people look at, well, like, all of it's mine. And I'm like, well, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
You have a partner. So you need to determine how much of that is yours. And then the last thing, Ralph, is to look up required minimum distributions and start to understand what that means. Because even if you don't need this money, maybe you've got a pension and a retirement through Social Security, you don't really need the money. Once you hit a certain age, you have to take that money out. And it's not how much you want to take out. It's an amount that's set by the government that they had forced you to take out, because that is when the taxes become due on it, Ralph.
Alan, it's a lot to go through. You can help us navigate our way through that. So kind of wrap and recap everything for us about these 3 simple steps you just went over.
Well, Ralph, if you're out there and you're feeling a little stuck about this, you can always give us a call at Southern Kentucky Financial. Sure. We're happy to help you work through that. And it can be a little overwhelming. We make the comment a lot of times that most people only retire once. And we do this every week. It's what we do for a living. So having someone you can talk to help you to bring all these pieces together, there's no obligation to find out if we can help, Ralph. So I would just encourage anybody out there that's listening to give some thought to giving us a call.
We certainly hope you will do that. Alan, thanks for a terrific show. Well, this retirement landscape we're all going through as we reach that age, it's changing all the time. Alan and his team, they're here to help you stay on top of the latest changes with their summit analysis too, so you can spend your time doing what you love with people you love and who matter to you the most. For Alan Costello and the whole team at Southern Kentucky Financial, I'm Ralph Hipp. We'll see you again next time.
The preceding program was paid for by Southern Kentucky Financial Services.